Hello, chess enthusiasts! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic games in chess history, Game 5 of the 1972 World Championship match between the reigning champion Boris Spassky and the American challenger Robert Fischer. Set in the beautiful city of Reykjavik, Iceland, this match was more than just a battle over the board. Pawn to d4, Spassky opens with the queen's pawn, controlling the center. Knight to f6, Fischer develops his knight, attacking the e4 square and preparing to control the center. Pawn to c4, Spassky reinforces his center and challenges for space. Pawn to e6, Fischer solidifies his position, planning to develop his pieces harmoniously. Knight to c3, Spassky develops his knight, supporting his pawn structure. Bishop to b4, Fischer pins the knight on c3, exerting pressure on white's pawn structure. Knight to f3, Spassky develops another piece and breaks the pin. Pawn to c5, Fischer strikes at the center, aiming to challenge white's control. Pawn to e3, Spassky opts for a solid structure while preparing to develop the light-squared bishop. Knight to c6, Fischer develops his knight, eyeing the center and increasing pressure on white's position. Bishop to d3, Spassky develops his bishop, preparing to castle and maintaining control of the center. Bishop captures knight on c3, Fischer exchanges pieces, aiming to disrupt white's pawn structure. Pawn captures bishop on c3, Spassky recaptures, maintaining his pawn in the center. Pawn to d6, Fischer supports his pawn structure and prepares to develop his pieces. Pawn to e4, Spassky occupies the center, looking to gain space. Pawn to e5, Fischer challenges the center immediately, looking to open lines for his pieces. Pawn to d5, Spassky pushes forward, attempting to challenge Fischer's knight. Knight to e7, Fischer develops his knight, preparing to reposition for better activity. Knight to h4, Spassky's knight move seems to add pressure but may expose weaknesses. Pawn to h6, Fischer creates a space to breathe for his pieces and prevent any immediate threats from white. Pawn to f4, Spassky tries to open lines and create attacking chances. Knight to g6, Fischer positions his knight aggressively, eyeing f4 and complicating white's pawn structure. Spassky decides to exchange on g6. Capturing the knight is a way to relieve some of the pressure, but it comes at a cost. After this trade, Spassky gives up the chance to keep his pawn structure intact, and he allows black to recapture with a pawn, which enhances Fischer's control over the center. Fischer recaptures with fx g6. Now, the position is significantly favorable for Fischer. He has achieved a better pawn structure and opened up lines for his pieces, particularly his rook and queen. The doubled pawns on the g-file for white are now vulnerable, and the e4 pawn remains a point of contention. Fischer is looking to capitalize on these structural weaknesses moving forward. Pawn captures pawn on e5. Spassky decides to open the position further. Pawn captures pawn on e5. Fischer recaptures and maintains pressure on white's position. Bishop to e3, Spassky develops his bishop to support the knight and prepare for defense. Pawn to b6, Fischer strengthens his pawn structure and prepares for potential expansion. Castles kingside, Spassky secures his king's safety, bringing the rook into play. Fischer responds with his own kingside castle. This move not only ensures the safety of his king, but also connects his rooks, setting the stage for coordinated action in the center and on the flanks. Spassky plays a4, aiming to expand on the queenside and potentially challenge Fischer's pawn structure. However, this move can also weaken the b4 square, which may become a target for Fischer. Fischer immediately counters with a5, reinforcing his pawn on b6. This move not only strengthens his queenside, but also creates potential for an eventual breakthrough on that side of the board. Spassky plays rb1, aligning his rook with the b-file, which suggests he intends to play b4 in the future to gain more space. Yet, this move also highlights the weakness of the b-pawn now that Fischer has control over that region. Fischer responds with bd7, developing his pieces further. This move connects his rooks and prepares for future operations, possibly rerouting his pieces to more active posts. Spassky, now under pressure, plays rb2, doubling down on defending his pawn structure and trying to reinforce his position. The rook on b2, however, is somewhat passive, limiting its scope. Fischer cleverly follows up with rb8, targeting Spassky's queenside pawns while simultaneously preparing to challenge the b2 rook. This move emphasizes Fischer's aggressive intent and his focus on controlling the open files. Spassky decides to activate his piece with 19, rbf2, aiming to connect his rooks and prepare for a central push. However, it feels a bit reactive, as Fischer's threats become more pronounced. Fischer plays qe7, reinforcing his control over the dark squares and preparing to increase pressure on Spassky's position. This move indicates Fischer's strategic planning, as he positions his pieces for a tactical strike. Spassky tries to regroup with bc2, hoping to centralize his pieces and defend against Fischer's looming threats. However, this move does little to alleviate the mounting pressure on his position. Fischer seizes the momentum with g5, a bold move that indicates his intent to initiate a pawn storm. This not only aims to create weaknesses in Spassky's position but also opens lines for his pieces to attack. In response, Spassky plays bd2, attempting to reinforce his control over essential squares and to prepare for potential exchanges. Yet, the move appears reactive and doesn't directly address the threat posed by Fischer's advancing pawns. Fischer now doubles down on his attack with qe8, aligning his queen with the potential for future threats on the king side. This move shows Fischer's aggressive style and his focus on creating tactical chances. Spassky tries to regroup with b1, moving his bishop to a safer position while hoping to prepare for central play. However, this maneuver does little to alleviate the squeezing pressure from Fischer's pieces. Fischer's qg6 brings his queen into a more aggressive stance. This move poses direct threats to the g2 pawn and ramps up the pressure on Spassky, signaling that he is gearing up for a decisive offensive. In a defensive posture, Spassky plays qd3, trying to protect the vital g2 square and anticipating Fischer's possible attacks. However, his pieces are becoming increasingly coordinated against a well-prepared Fischer. Fischer plays nh5, delivering a powerful blow. This knight move eyes both the f4 and g3 squares, further intensifying the pressure on Spassky's kingside and simultaneously threatening strategic tactics. Feeling the heat, Spassky opts to exchange pieces with r takes f8 check. This move is an attempt to relieve some pressure, but it also gives up the rook without sufficient compensation. Fischer captures back with r takes f8, maintaining his advantages and strengthening his position. With this exchange, Fischer has simplified the position while solidifying his control over key squares. Spassky checks with r takes f8 check, forcing Fischer to respond. Fischer captures with k takes f8, and now he has increased material advantage along with a dominant position. Spassky plays bd1, attempting to stabilize his position and control important squares. However, the situation is precarious, his pieces lack coordination and are under severe pressure. Fischer's move, nf4, is a defining moment. The knight moves aggressively into Spassky's territory, threatening critical squares and creating a tactical bind for Spassky. In a desperate attempt to defend, Spassky plays qc2, but it's too late. Fischer has effectively mobilized his forces and stands on the brink of a decisive victory. Fischer captures the pawn on a4 with his bishop. This move is decisive as it not only wins a piece but also strengthens his material advantage. With this capture, Fischer essentially seals Spassky's fate in this position, as he now dominates both the material and the strategic aspects of the game. The a4 pawn was also a key defender, and removing it weakened Spassky's overall pawn structure further. And there you have it! Robert Fischer's impressive victory over Boris Spassky in Game 5 of the 1972 World Championship is a perfect example of high-level chess strategy and tactical brilliance. Fischer's ability to find dynamic resources in a difficult position ultimately led him to outplay the reigning champion. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth chess content. Let us know your thoughts on this game in the comments below. What move stood out to you the most? Thanks for tuning in, and remember to keep studying your own games and practicing those tactics. Until next time, happy chess playing!